Hey, welcome to my brand new podcast. It's Life Transformed Robert Bolden, and this podcast is called Leaders Live Your Purpose. All right, so this is the first episode. So I want to tell you a little bit about this. This whole podcast came about as part of a Holy Spirit moment for me. Those of you who know me, I have these Holy Spirit interactions, what I call Holy Spirit interactions, typically between 3 and 4 in the morning. I'll wake up and all of a sudden I'm just getting flooded with all of this inspiration. And this one started a while back. I was getting little bits and pieces of it. It really started resonating with me. And then here, just in the last week and a half or so, Holy Spirit was clear. Write a book, do a podcast. Everything about this, leaders live your purpose. What does that mean? I was in the corporate world. I was a leader in the corporate world, positional leader, you would say. I was a leader in sports, and that was more of a voted on leader or a leader that others looked to me for leadership. So there are different kinds of leaders. There's positional leaders, like will often happen in the corporate world, where you'll get promoted into a leadership spot, or it may be in sports where you naturally rise to become the leader of the team. And there are other ways to do it too. When you're going along in this world as a quote unquote leader, maybe this will resonate with you. Me as a leader, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I was personal growth. I was aspiring for more. I was goal oriented. I learned how to public speak. I did all the things that you would check the box on. I took management courses. I took leadership courses. I read books. And I was successful in that world. And this may be you. You could be chugging along right now, working a job, working for somebody. That's the key, working for somebody. And you're successful by all accounts. You have perseverance, you're diligent, your values are good, you're doing the best you can, you are model employee, all those things. So you can go down that road. And if you're like me, maybe you ask yourself, once in a while, wow, there's got to be more to life than this. When you're making the money and you've got all the stuff, wow, there's got to be more than this. Or maybe you're just running so hard like I was at one point in my life, working 80 hours a week. You're living for the day off, for the vacation, whatever it may be. You don't even have time to reflect. You are just rolling forward, full throttle, 100%, still doing all the things that this world tells you a leader should do. But when you do take a deep breath, maybe it is when you're on vacation or something, you can say, wow, I wonder if this is all there is. Or if you were like me, maybe you're working because you believe the American dream that, you work hard, you save your money, and you retire, live happily. House paid off, cars paid off, benefits, all those things. That's the ultimate. If any of this is resonating with you, this podcast is for you, because that's where I was. I was in that world. I was in the corporate world, making all the money. Everything looked great on the outside. But I just knew there was something missing. I just knew it. I didn't know what. I didn't know what to do because I was on that hamster wheel. I'm moving it. Everybody was affirming what I was doing. It was what culture taught me to do. If that is you and you're loving it, that's great. My warning will be there'll be a point in time, not physically, mentally, emotionally, you're going to run out of steam. If you're already at a point where you're able to reflect a little bit and you're like, wow, I know there's got to be something more, but I really don't know what it is or how to find it, then this podcast is going to be for you, because that's where I was, and I have quote unquote found it now. I'm delighted to share with you the things that I've learned over time to help you find it, if you will. The sooner you can find it, I wish I would have found it a lot sooner than I did. For me, my personal story, you can go to the website. I've got my story there, so you can dig into the story if you want to know more detail. What I've found in my life is that everybody has a story that's leading them somewhere. So the question is, where is your story leading you? Are you a leader? And how do you get to living your life on purpose? How do you live your purpose? How do you get there? Maybe there's a big gap between where you are now and living your purpose. Maybe you say, Robert, there's no way that this is my purpose, but it pays well. And even though I don't get to see my family a whole lot, I'm providing. Got money in the bank, we've got insurance, we got all the things. But is that your purpose? Is that really your purpose? Are you buying into the view that that is your purpose? Whether you're a guy or a gal, if you're a leader, maybe you're a dual income family, you both have to work, but you're providing for your kids. You're providing more than maybe what you had. If feel like, yeah, that's my purpose, to make life a little easier for them. Okay, if you're satisfied with that, great. But if there's something gnawing at you, and if you're wondering, wow, I wonder if this really is my purpose. Listen, I'm not going to give you the answer, but I'll be able to ask you questions. And through interviews with lots of other leaders going forward on this podcast, you're going to gain insight from each of them, each of those leaders who are at various stages of life. And they'll be able to reflect through the questions. They're going to reflect their experiences back to you. And there are going to be some people that you're going to resonate with, I guarantee you. And those people that you resonate with, you're going to pay closer attention to what they have to say. And I feel like God is calling me to really speak to leaders. Because you think about it, typical churches, I know I'm generalizing here, so don't blow me up here, but generally when we, in this country, in the U.S., when we're talking about serving the less fortunate, we're talking about people that don't have money, don't have homes, don't have food. Those are the less fortunate. But I would submit to you that we are all the same, first of all. God created each and every one of us equally. Nobody is better or worse than another. But I feel like God is calling me to speak to those people who appear to have it all together. Because there are a lot of churches and focus on people who lack from a financial or shelter or food standpoint. There are programs or people, and that's all good. But who is talking to the leaders? Who is trying to reach that person that I was, that knew nothing about God and was doing the best they can? They are running themselves in the ground. Maybe that's you. And it's like the frog in a beaker. If you ever heard that story, you put a frog in a beaker and you turn up the temperature just 1 degree at a time. Keep turning it up until it gets to boiling, and the frog will die in the beaker. He'll die. She'll die. By contrast, if you threw that frog from normal temperature into a pot of boiling water, it would jump out as quick as it hit the water to save itself. Make sure you're not the frog in the beaker, that it's getting harder and harder, and you're struggling, and I can keep doing it. I can keep going. That was me. I can keep going. The hours got longer. The dissatisfaction got more. And what really ate at me was not being able to fulfill my potential. I thought it was potential at the time, but it was really purpose that was gnawing at me. If you've thought about purpose in the past, but you're still doing what you've always done, or if you've never thought about purpose, this podcast is going to be a great way for you to gain some insight into you. And that is my hope, that is my prayer, that what we cover and the people that we bring on to interview through this podcast will inspire you. Inspiration, it's always an inside job. Again, I'm never going to have an answer for you because I know the answer is in you. But you just need to be exposed to truth. God's truth. I believe God's truth. It's always an inside job. Your thoughts need to change to get to a point where you're living your purpose as a leader. And guess what? If you can live your purpose as a leader, I believe, because of your natural influence in whatever workplace that you're in right now, whether it's education, government, business, you name it. If you start living your life on purpose, living for purpose, you can have a huge impact on so many people. And just imagine if the whole world, all the leaders, I'm calling out all the leaders with this podcast, anybody who it's leading, you need what I'm going to be talking about, what we're going to be talking about going forward. Because if you can do that, just think of the big impact you can have on the world because of your influence in the world. The world values certain things now, not what God values, but you being in that position, in that situation, can have huge impact. So if you want to be part of something much bigger than you and start living your purpose, tune in every week here on Monday. We're releasing another episode of Life Transformed Leaders. Live your purpose.